Hello and welcome to Top of the World. It's early 7 o'clock this morning. Casper did as usual. He gets me up anywhere between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning. So I've been out of bed about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Obviously clothes. Casper needs to go out first. Coffee goes on, Casper goes out. Come back, got my first cup of coffee. It's 15 below zero, so it's kind of an average day for December-ish. Now, a few of my newer subscribers have asked me about my furnace and generally interested in the heating system. A few older ones who've seen it all before, but we're going to have a recap. But before we go into the furnace room, we have to do the chickens. Now, when I say do the chickens, my chickens are inside, here, in the cellars. My cellars are vast. Anyway, let's go and give the chickens a handful of corn. Morning, girls. Yeah, is it that time? And this year, I built this big rack out of pallets, and I had another 2 cords packed in here for drying, just to get. Every year I struggle moving the vast amount of wood from the woodshed into the furnace room, and every year I make an improvement, and every year it gets easier. But having all this wood inside, does it make a mess? Oh yeah. Well, you beat me in here this morning. Right, here we are inside the furnace room. Considerably more complex than it needs to be, but very functional it is. Could I make it any less complex? No, I can only make it more complex by adding electronically actuated valves and the like. So I'll do my normal routine and then I'll show you around once I've got it lit. I managed to rack up my carpets. So I shut the door initially, so this was always locked as part of the school. This is a huge steel door. There's another steel door here. You're completely encapsulated by concrete. What I have managed to find are the tips for a sprinkler system, and it is my plan in the near future to add sprinklers in here. Have I ever had a fire in here? No. Has there ever been a fire in here? No, not yet. But I keep wood in here, which I don't really like. In addition to that, we haven't since I've done the chimneys, but I have had 2 huge chimney fires. And to give you an idea about huge, our first one, the only water supply we had down there, it was our very first time we arrived, first winter, was a toilet. And I've told this story before. All we had to put out the chimney was Sarah's white towels and toilet water. Did I open up the chimney and stuff the wet towels in the bottom of the chimney and extinguish it? Yeah. Yeah. But it all has stainless steel liners in it now. Before it was the old brick chimney. Just burn the building down. But I've installed new chimney liners, new flues. Everything is new except this, which is existing. This was already here. It's not the most efficient furnace, but it was installed by Ralph. And we'll get to Ralph. Right, Ralph is my neighbour. Ralph bought the school after it closed in 1979, 1980. Still today, much of the way that the building operates is the way Ralph set it up in the 80s. Anyway, he replaced the old school furnace, which you saw me take out. There's a video of it somewhere. You saw me cut up and take out when we renewed the wood store. So, here we go. what did I do to my finger? Coincidentally, yesterday morning, for the first time, I went through my finger with a splitting axe. And I knew, not the splitting axe, the tomahawk, what I use for kindling. I saw the accident coming and I picked up a bit of wood I should have thrown to one side. Anyway, did I go all the way through it? No, I only went down to the bone. Bit of super glue and some... Anyway, here we go. Now the primary role of the vacuum cleaner is to stop the fine ash disappearing up the tubes. Now I've got the flue shut off, but it will all stay up and lay inside the tubes, which I don't want. Right, she's ready for lighting now. So before I light it, switch the water on. Where is the water pump switch? Well, it's up there on the ceiling. I don't know why it's on the ceiling. Bloody stupid place to put it, really. My Sarah, she has to use a stick. My plan, before I got distracted by other things, was to move the switch from the wall. Now, it's been on the ceiling there for 20 years. I can reach it. Can I move it to the wall easily? So that switch is on the main circulation pump. This pump pushes the water to every single radiator through every single pipe in the building. And then do we go through the valves? No, all the valves, everything is set up from last night, so it's on central heating. All the valves are in the right position. We like the furnace. So this is also drywood. We have a section of drywood there, and then you saw the drywood in the corridor through that door. Here's my woodshed. There's my birthday present, doing its job. Right over the back there, as far as you can probably see, is a chute. You know, the one we renovated. There's the offending article. Wow, looks like an old chopping axe, Simon. How could that go through your finger? Well, I sharpened it, and I keep all my axes sharp enough to tear through flesh like it ain't even there, just in case you need to split a bit of wood. However, if you miss that bit of wood and you hit your own flesh, it's going to come off. It's not going to be a small injury, is what I'm saying. So, how did all this wood get here? Well, here's the switch. So all this wood you've seen outside all gets brought in here in cages from the main woodshed and then stacked. And I've done it like this year, which I've never done before, because I bought myself the dehumidifier for my birthday. And what that does is that super dries the wood. How do we know? Well, we know because the other thing I thought to myself for my birthday is a moisture meter. Now, in my previous life, these were everywhere. You had to use a moisture meter for just about everything, just before you started a job. Well, how have I done it here? I've guessed. How much wet wood has gone in my furnace? Too much. Way, way, way too much. Now, of course, I'm into the routine of cleaning my chimney, and I keep my chimney really clean. And then understanding the percentage of the different timbers I burn between pine and birch and salu. Salu is a willow, right? Which is what wood do we have available here? Birch, pine, and the odd bit of willow. Sometimes a bit of aspen, not very often, and it's terrible stuff to burn anyway. So for those of you who don't know how this works, it's a moisture meter. You have two sharp prongs on the end there, and now don't show me up. And you take your bit of wood and you stick your prongs in the bit of wood, right, and that tells you that's 9.7% moisture in there. Let's try it under the bark. It's always a good test under the bark. There we go, 16.7%. It's got the amber light on it. You don't want to put anything above 20% moisture in that. Now, manufacturer will tell you that'll cope with up to 30% moisture. You don't want to be putting 30% moisture in any furnace if you can help it, because it creates black spot, creosote, nasty stuff. So for those of you around in January, February, March, a lot of this is this year's wood. It got cut and split in January, February, March and stacked away. So what the dehumidifier does is it takes out the last of the moisture and anything arriving that's been cold or frosted. It'll take the moisture out of this shed, and once we've used all this, this will be dry enough. So then what we do is we take our fire lighter, fire lighters, bit of birch, and then we reach over this side, we take a handful of our tops. Remember, we use all the tree, every single part of the tree. If you cut it down, you want to be using it. We take our handful of tops like that and our bit of birch bark. We wrap our bit of birch bark, not even, you know, I mean, ish. Then we take our lighter, we light it. Open our flue, otherwise we're going to fill ourselves with smoke. Well, you're thinking, birch bark can't really ignite like that, can it? Oh yeah, does it ever? So then we empty our dehumidifier. Am I still pulling 2 of these out a day? No, I was. It's about half a gallon. So now I just get 1 a day. Chimney's warm. That'll draw. We can load that up now. And since my coffee's almost cold, go and get a second cup. suppose I should take a minute really, because I thought about this a number of times and it might bother me, so I'm going to explain. Not only is it difficult for the masses to believe that I live and operate out of a building this size that is possibly 100% wood fired. Well, it is 100% wood fired. So what I have to do is each year, I have to negotiate with the landowner on trees en route. I have to cut trees en route, load trees en route, bring trees en route back to yard with snowmobile and sled. Then I have to saw said trees and split said trees and stack said trees. And sometimes that'll involve moving around numerous times. And then before winter arrives, I have to unstack, restack, transport through the factory down said chute and then restack in here. I touch each piece of wood at least 6 times, sometimes more if I'm manually handling too many times. What are we actually doing in here? Well, I'm going to explain it the best I can. So as a bit of wood, we don't want to just set fire to this. What we're actually trying to do is release the energy from inside. So we're looking at this as an energy stick. And it's packed full of energy that we need to extract to turn into, what we actually need to do is gasify this bit of wood. For the most efficient way of heating, we want to take the energy that's encapsulated in this and we want to turn it into a gas to burn the gas, which is essentially what you do when you're burning a piece of wood. You're releasing the energy. So the most efficient way of burning a piece of wood in the furnace is to get the gases to reignite as a result of the burning or heating process in the bottom. Now there are special furnaces today that do that, and they even hold the gas and will reuse the gas at strategic times to keep maximum amount of heat. But if you know what you're doing, you can do it in any wood burner at all. So what you want is you want nice, calm, hot coals, slow burning in the bottom of your furnace or your wood burner. But what you want before it exits, especially in a furnace like this when we're going through tubes that heat water, is you want a raging, chaotic, mass, purple firestorm going on by way of igniting the gases. How you doing, Simon? Well, I think I'm doing all right. You don't want a raging storm where you're burning this. You want the raging storm above it where you're igniting the gases or reigniting the gases. I'm going to try and show you what I mean. Now, this is a Viadrust U22. It's about one of the most basic furnaces you can get. It consists of ash box at the bottom, the burning area, and then the heating tubes at the top. And it's all in one containment. The more modern ones, they move the gases around because they know they've got to reignite it. So once you've lit your fire, what you need to do is really, you want cold, fresh air, oxygenated air from outside. Have I done that? Yeah, we've got a cold air pipe there. That'll be minus 15 coming through that pipe there onto this floor, and that goes into there. Right, that feeds the fire. And then it will start burning the wood. But what we want to do is we want to introduce fresh air here too, to ignite the gases, because up here is where we want our firestorm. We want an absolute firestorm in here. And we control that firestorm using the back flue and the fresh air introduced. If this is wide open all the time like that, everything we've got in the top there is just going to fire straight out the chimney. It's going to be great for the chimney, great for the environment, it's no good for us. What we need to do is we need to slow that considerably. Then we need to give it the right amount of oxygen in here and at the bottom. So it's a constant balance. Now, this should have an automatic thermostat here that does all that. No, because it doesn't do it well enough and it doesn't do it consistently enough. So we do it manually. Have we got one of these? No, we haven't got one of these. So what I'm going to try and show you is the calm and the firestorm, if I can create it already. It's a bit early on, it's still warming up, but I might be able to create it. Yeah, I can create that. Right. What I'm going to try and demonstrate is the calmness of the fire at the bottom. It's not going to be that calm because I've just opened the door. Yeah, it's probably not a good... Okay, yeah, that's quite calm down there. Alright, see that? See the firestorm starting to happen? Well, we can make that much worse. There we go. So what we want to be doing is we want to be igniting those gases. See if we can create the perfect storm through there. It's not the best visual yet. Calm down there. All chaos up here. I'm making small adjustments. Won't quite go yet, it's still a bit early. But you can see how we want to ignite all those gases. Here it comes. There you go. Now there's no wood there. So there's no wood at the top, and they're not flames from the wood, that's just igniting the gases. And that's what we want. We want that manic firestorm there. There. Perfect. And then that means that we're taking out and using all the energy from the wood. It's the gases that create the massive heat at the top, not the burning of the wood. We want the wood to burn slowly. We want the gases to ignite. So if you've got plumes and plumes of grey smoke coming out of your chimney, that's bad. That means that whatever you're doing where you're burning, it's not efficient. Now, it's not bad to start with because all chimneys are going to smoke on light up. They just are. But in an ideal world, the cleaner you can get the top of your chimney, the more efficient you're burning, whether it be in something basic as this, something more complex, or just a fireplace. The art is balancing the rear draft with the oxygen intake at the bottom and the oxygen intake midway. Now most fire appliances, burning boxes, spisses, furnaces, whatever it is, should have a backflow. Now some of them are actually in the chimney themselves. A lot of them here, the older ones, are in the chimney. If that's just wide open, you're not going to get maximum amount of heat. Now there are times when you first light it, right, you need it wide open. Yeah, and then you can slowly bring it back. And what that does is it slows the heat, slows the gases going up the chimney. And you want to hold them longer so you can burn all of them. The more of the gases released by the wood, the stronger the raging fire inside, the more energy you extract in, the more heat you'll give it. And this is not as efficient as many. It's quite old, it's quite inefficient. But I can make it more efficient than it would otherwise be, just by balancing. Anyway, I've had enough of that. Normally I've had another cup of coffee or 3 by now. Let's go and do that. So that's the lighting. That's the lighting of this. And up goes our water temperature. So I'll show you the water temperature and the valves and stuff. So that's our furnace temperature. Now we're going to light a few minutes. And then we've got circulation temperatures down here. And our short circulation meter, which is switched on and off there. And we also have a stat operated off of the rear flue. That's our main circulation pump. And this is our main outgoing water temperature. Right, so we want that above 50. That's what we want that. And there's my wonderful mix of valves and pipes. And these are not static. Now, these are our new inlets. You saw me do these. Right, these two here, this one and this one. This comes down from the new wood stove we put in the kitchen. All right. Now we do need another cup of coffee. Firestorms. Burn those gases. And we can see we've got this raging fire going here. Right, I'll show you what it looks like down the bottom. Calm. Calm at the bottom. That at the top. That's good. If you're not able to run your stove, furnace, fire like that because you're so concerned about chimney fire, then you really need to clean it. You really need to avoid the chimney fire and burn efficiently. The most scariest thing that somebody who burns wood can experience is chimney fires. Chimney fires are bad enough. This building is built of wood. In between the walls and the floors is filled with highly combustible sawdust, as all buildings in this region are. It's screaming fire 24 hours a day. If you're burning wood, never burn candles. If you're burning wood up a chimney through the middle, right, then that needs to have stainless steel liners in it. It needs to be packed with fire retardants between the stainless steel liners and the original chimney. All your joints need to be perfect and it needs to be clean. And you'll never have a fire. Thus you can run that. For the first year I was terrified doing this. This is how I set the chimney light. Because it wasn't cleaned. It was the old brick one without any liner in it. It was full of creosote, black spot, the most combustible black tar nastiness you could imagine. Anyway, here we are. We need a storm. Right. We're running efficiently for a moment. So then, badly needed already, there's a second cup of coffee. So that's dog done, chicken's done, furnace alight. And all that is exactly the same every single morning for about 6 months. Nothing can change that routine. Even breakdowns. In my last video, a few of you were concerned because they thought there was something wrong with my heating system. No, there was nothing wrong with the heating system. I just lost a few radiators. And already there's slightly warm water coming through there from the furnace we've just lit. When you saw me do this, here in my wonderful store, the furnace was lit and the heating was live. I did all this while it was live because I've done it before. Right, now we have the second cup of coffee and then we can think about starting our day. But we can't leave the building yet because the furnace is in its infancy. In its infancy. Why do you feel the need? I don't know. Anyhow, we'll get that into being able to pack that solid with large pieces of birch and then we've got an hour and a half, 2 hours that we can come back and potentially then save the furnace from going out. Can I get it to go any longer? If I close it right down and burn it real tight, yeah, I can get it longer, but you only heat the outgoing water's temperature to maybe 25-30 degrees. Just keeps the frost level off if we have to go to town. Can I go to town without lighting the furnace? No. Even if I'm going to town, and we went to town yesterday, I still have to get up, do exactly the same routine, get it into its second or third burn, and then close it down, and then we can go. So if we need to leave early, I have to get up earlier. You have to have that furnace running, otherwise you can run into real trouble real quick here. And it just keeps the warmth in the building. Considering the building has no real insulation, and I'm still running on 3mm plate glass, it actually holds the heat quite well. It does. Some of that is to do with the huge central chimney I've got, and it is huge because it also carries air vents, and it's brick built in the 40s and then concrete covered. Anyway, rambling, second cup of coffee. Warmed up a little. I think it's 8 to 10 below zero. Quite warm enough to come out here and play ball for a bit. Come on. Good boy. Still had a lot of snow, not really. There he is, over there. So I suppose while we're here, we're going to have a quick look in the woodshed and see how we're doing in the woodshed and how we've cleaned it up. Can we even see in here? It's a bit dark. Anyway. That's where we started again. We've cleaned out and laid all new pallets. So that's our new stack for next year, only one wide. We've cleaned out underneath and laid all new pallets. And that's what we've got left in here. 2 rows and a bit. And we're cleaning all this out as we go. You can see it all blocked up underneath. So we clean it out, lay down new pallets, ready to stick again. Nasty. There's less mice up this end. So for my newer subscribers, we obviously built a camp and board shelter behind me, and when I say we wrap that up, we won't see that again till May, June. Now you know why. So you could probably have that. Can I work when it's like this? It depends on the temperature. Obviously I can plough the yard and run the sawmill, can't run the sawmill below sort of 10 degrees. The bands, the blades, they just snap again and again and again. And it's getting to the point now where there's sufficient snow on the roof that I need to think about getting it off. And the reason for the new building behind me and the new end section for the sawmill is because this building I temporarily built 5 years ago in the winter. And I temporarily built it there while I got planning permission for a new sawmill building. Now, I got planning permission for a new sawmill building, no problem. Do you think I can afford to build it? I can't even afford to put concrete in the ground. So, that's why we're building a new one over here. Because this one, we're building this one over here because this is built properly. This was built temporarily, and all I had was some dead trees and a chainsaw when I built this. It's time to go inside, get all our dirty stuff off, go upstairs, light the wood stove. We've just got to go down and fill the furnace up again, but then upstairs to light the wood stove. Now we can turn this down a bit, slow it down. I can show you better now it's fully warmed up, what I was talking about earlier. There you go, that's what you want. So that's perfect, that's the gases burning. Beautiful colours. So you see how all the temperatures come up? Do we need fake snow on our windows? Probably not. There's that lovely table many of you saw me restore. And that, Sarah wanted to do the Christmas tree her own way this year. That has nothing to do with me. That is all Sarah. She's done that. We bought this 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Took a year to get it up here, and a lot of men. I had to build ramps up, 3 flights of stairs to get this up here. Anyway, we got it here. And then of course it had to sit here for a while because I had to put the chimney in. And for my newer subscribers, I have to do a little bit of work, save a little bit of money, do a little bit of work on our place. So we're now, it's taken me 6 years to get this far. Am I finished? No, but nearly finished. I have trimming to do. I've only just got this plumbed in down there. Yeah, that is a fire extinguisher right next to the dog bowl. That's just in case he catches himself on fire. The fire extinguisher, that is. So I've got this in case we needed to use it for any reason, which is a half-size electric oven. But we haven't turned that on since I plumbed this in, and you all saw the video. If you didn't see the video, go back and check. Since I plumbed this in and made the backdraft. Right. That was the key, the backdraft. Do I like this every day? Yes. We've got a shaker grate in this. Give it the old shake. We've got an ash box in the bottom, but I only need to empty that every 3 days. So like the big furnace downstairs, we've got air. We've got air in the bottom door. And then we've got air in the top door. And then we've got a backflue. Exactly the same principle. And then I light it in the same way. Extraction fan on. That's to stop the kitchen filling up with smoke while I'm lighting. Bit of birch bark in the hole. So how well does this work? Well, I've literally sat down, had a cup of coffee, and the first kettle's boiling. There we go. Oven temperature is at 150. Overall water temperature has risen to 50. How are we doing in there? Lovely. There you go. We've shut off the backflue. Right. So those that know the install know that it can't be shut off completely. So we're right down. Kettle's boiling. What do I do with that kettle? Well, I'll take that kettle now and I put it in Sarah's massive flask, and she uses that for tea and honey and lemon. And I'll put another kettle on. So we get to heat the water for. It's not free. It's a lot of work. It's wood, but I haven't got to turn on anything electric, which is what we did before. Everything in here was powered electric. We've got no gas or nothing like that here. We do have modern conveniences as well. There's an induction hob built into the island there that I put there. And we've got this half electric cooker in case of emergencies. Do we use them? Occasionally we use the induction hob, which is cheap to run. But otherwise, everything gets cooked on there or in there. And it has done now since I installed it. I don't know how many weeks ago that is, but I light this every evening. It's 1600 hours, 4 PM, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been dark for hours. I've finished my day. I've got my shadow with me. I just come down to top up the furnace, but I wanted to show you where we were compared to this morning. So this is just a 2-hourly top up. You can see the hot coals in there. We'll pack that with wood and go back upstairs, and we're running it low now because we've got the other stove alight as well. So that's our normal operating temperature for our furnace. You can see all our water temperatures are all up. Anyway, it's 55, so we're all good. We'll just we'll pack this out, carry on upstairs. Look at that, lovely. And then we come back upstairs. So we're into our being lit about an hour. We're at 200 degrees. Our water temperature here is reading the same as it is downstairs with no increase in pressure. See how low the pressure is? And the reason I got a shadow, well, you're thinking, that can't possibly be the dog's dinner. Well, it is, and I'll cook it fresh for him every night we can. It's out-of-date meat. Out-of-date meat from the supermarkets, from the shops. I cook it up in an old saucepan in the oven after I've lit it. Add in a bit of gravy. Well, just make the gravy just easy. Just chuck it all in the pot. And it's cooling down. And there you have it. That's the last 12 hours captured, or at least the heating and firing of this building for the last 12 hours. I've got another 4 or 5 hours to go. When it gets down below -25, that'll be like that 24 hours. This stove that I've installed up here will definitely help. It's definitely raised the overall temperature of the building as a whole by giving it extra heat. Why haven't I done a snow ploughing video? Well, I mentioned Ralph. I've mentioned Ralph a number of times. He's the original purchaser of this building, the founder of the company that I now run. And my neighbour is also still at his age, he's in his 80s, he's still snow ploughing, and he snow ploughs all the communal areas, the recycling, down at the front of the village, around the village hall here, the big gourd, the bins, all this kind of thing. I was out with Casper early, it's Friday today, Friday the 23rd. I reckon it was the 21st, the morning of the 21st. Anyway, there was an ambulance outside his door, which is never a good thing to see at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I noticed the house was in darkness and he wasn't in his snowplough. So I rang his daughter and he was taken to hospital. He was not very well. So normally what I wanted to do was, you know, another snow ploughing video. There was quite a heavy fall of snow. I couldn't. I just had to get my plough up and running, do my own ploughing, and then go and cover everything he does, which of course a lot of the village rely on because they need to get to the bins and, you know, around the village, and there wasn't enough time to do everything and do the filming. So my thoughts and prayers go out for Ralph, who I have to say is one of the elders, one of the main men in the village, and my greatest supporter. Yeah, there's been numerous occasions where the pitchfork runners have been running and he's put up the red flag and said, stop, leave him alone, pack it in, he's doing this or he's doing that, or yeah, he's been quite my biggest supporter, probably because he was born here in this village and he's worked through every single winter and every single summer, and he knows what it takes to make it or not here. Did Ralph ever make any money out of the 30 plus years that he ran this company? Not much, no. so he knows what it takes. Anyway, he's still in hospital, still not very well. I wish him a speedy recovery. So I hope the old man is at home for Christmas. And the big celebrations here in Sweden are tomorrow, the 24th. There's a lot of interesting traditions here. The Christmas lights, we should call them Christmas lights, they're not, they're winter lights. They go up here very early in November because we're already into the darkness of the winter. Anyway, I wish him well, and I wish all of you well, and all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for watching my videos, my old subscribers, my new subscribers, all subscribers. I really do appreciate that. I really appreciate those that have started to benefit towards the channel through Buy Me a Coffee. You'll find a link up in the main banner of the home page. You'll also find it on the About page. And if I can work out how to do it, I'll put a link in the description of this video, because this is going to go towards further in the channel and helping me fund the media equipment which I so badly need. On that note, I thank you all very much. I really do appreciate it. Have a great Christmas. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.